I don't know why, but a lot of people in the world like to explore giant caves that end up not being so giant after all. In fact, some of them get so tiny that the people who are exploring the caves get stuck and die a slow, painful death. And so today we're checking out the 5 most disturbing caving videos. Let's check them out.
On May 6, 2019, YouTuber Connor Kelly posted a video of him exploring an abandoned McCoy gold mine in the Nevada desert. However, what was supposed to be nothing more than a fun adventure with his family quickly turned into a disturbing experience. One that would likely stay with the group for the rest of their lives.
Okay. We don't do a lot of talking at first, because there's always a fear that the sound will bring down loose rock.
The exploration.
Is that really true though? I'm not a cave expert at all, but I feel like walking is creating more vibrations in the ground and in the cave than just does talking really have that much of a vibration that it can be dangerous? I think it can cause avalanches actually, so maybe it does make sense.
Of this mine started off quite normal, with the group staying silent to avoid causing an accidental cave-in as seen by the text they put on screen. However, after about a minute and a half of treading deeper into the mine, Connor noticed something strangely reflective on the path ahead.
Ooh. Ooh.
Reflection? You're trying to...
I don't like that at all. We've watched way too many ghost and spooky videos for me to not instantly think that that's a ghost. I specifically wanted to watch this video because I wanted to avoid any extra dimensional interactions. So if this is a ghost, I'm not watching the rest of it. A ghost plus a cave, bro. Come on. Those shoes?
It's shoe.
Oh,
look, is that like a fossil? Dead animal or human?
okay. Wait, don't move, Wyatt.
What they found reflecting back at them was a shoe, amongst many more in a massive pile with random bones scattered throughout.
Absolutely not. Oh my god. You guys know what that means, right? You don't just find random piles of shoes in places for no reason. Typically, things like this, where you see piles of shoes, it's a collection of shoes from either a kidnapper, a serial murderer, some just crazy people out there. On top of that, I think that they said that they found bones there too. So this might not be a cave, but maybe more of a dungeon. That like gave me the chills. I don't like this at all. And also, I gotta say, the video feels very legit so far. Like the video that this guy's taking. When we watch our ghost videos, I try to be like very logical and nitpicky and trying to figure out exactly the legitimacy behind the videos. So far, it feels very real.
That's a bone right there. Actually, there's quite a few bones in this.
What made this pile even more odd was the sheer variety of shoes on display. Many of them were clearly very modern, while some were models that were released over 30 years ago. How could such a random assortment of shoes end up in an abandoned gold mine in the middle of nowhere? Things took an even darker turn when the group ventured further into the cave and found a bunch of bones, including a relatively intact spine.
Bro, that was a dinosaur. Did you see that? That looked like an entire Cubone Marowak skull in the back. What was that?
So this is water flow.
What, like, what is that in the back left? Bro, is that a cow? That is huge.
It is.
My God.
So we can't trust this.
Yeah, don't stand any closer.
I think the cave ends there.
The group was growing increasingly unsettled by these disturbing discoveries, prompting them to leave the cave as quickly as possible. And that's where the original video ends, without any explanation or resolution.
What?
Connor didn't provide any more information in the video's description or in the comments. He posted 4 more videos after this, but none of these videos included any updates on the disturbing encounter either. Dia de los Niños Chamamish Hip Hop Club live performance. What? Bro, how does he go from discovering a secluded cave that turns out to be some creeps dungeon to posting dance routines? I gotta respect it. But to me, that makes the video feel a lot more legit. It seems like there's a little bit of question behind whether or not the shoes were placed there or the bones were there or not. But if it was fake,
I think that this guy would have done more of those videos in the past and more of them in the future, especially since the one that is posted has hundreds of thousands of views. Like, if you are a person that's trying to fake that setup and create a scene where it looks like somebody has been kidnapping people and taking their shoes, etc., that wouldn't be their only upload on the channel around it. So that makes me feel like it is legit, and this family did accidentally discover that cave.
So, what's going on here? One of the first things that comes to mind is that this mine was the collection spot for a serial killer. This would explain both the shoes and the bones.
Yes.
A top comment on the video also backs this theory, stating, "If you ever listen to the Missing 411 videos, you know shoes are a major component of missing or abducted people. This sent chills down my spine." Which is true. A statistical analysis of the Missing 411 data shows that over 15% of the cases involve absent shoes.
Or socks. Okay, anyone out there who is into feet or toes for whatever purpose, I am now highly suspicious of. I make jokes that I, like feet and toes or whatever, but they're just jokes. I would never actually do anything with feet or toes. That's weird. And if you do, now I'm like, hold on. I think that you're 50% more likely to now be a serial killer.
However, this theory isn't entirely likely. For starters, I couldn't find any news reports regarding this mysterious pile of shoes, which is odd since judging from the number of shoes, this supposed killer would have had hundreds of victims. If this pile had such a violent history, it probably wouldn't go unnoticed by the media. More importantly, many people on the internet agree that the bones in the video are not human.
The clickbait, I wear kid shoes, and these are not all kid shoes. Why is he admitting that he wears kid shoes? You don't have to wear kid shoes to know what kid shoes look like. Why is he admitting that?
Group in the video reaches the same conclusion when looking at the bones for the first time.
No, it looks like a cow or a horse.
That's what I'm saying.
Big for a human.
Put simply, the odds of this being a serial killer trophy cave are very low. But given the animal bones scattered throughout the area, it's possible it was the feeding spot of a predator like a mountain lion. Though, while that might explain the bones, it offers no clues about the pile of shoes. One theory I haven't seen anyone else bring up is that the shoes might have ended up there because of flooding. You see, the McCoy mine where the video was filmed is located in Lander County, and from what I can find, that area is quite prone to flooding. So it's entirely possible that someone dumped their sneaker collection in the middle of nowhere to get rid of it, only for it to be carried in the abandoned mine with rainwater.
I mean, I guess that maybe makes sense, but who has hundreds of shoes like that? I mean, that's more shoes than I have in total. And I have a lot of shoes. That is absurd.
A mountain lion could have moved in later, which would explain the bones. The only proof I have of this theory is that the ground in the deepest part of the mine is extremely wet and has water flow marks leading into it.
That's true.
Other than that, it's pure speculation. That said, another potential explanation for both the bones and the shoes is that Connor placed them there himself in hopes of creating a viral video. People on the internet have pointed out that the bones in the video are a bit too clean for something left in a muddy cave by a predator. Some have also claimed that a few of the bones look like they're inorganic fabrications. Another inconsistency in Connor's video is that he and his group keep claiming that all the shoes in the pile are kid-sized.
There's no adult shoes in there. There's no adult shoes.
He even mentioned that in the video's title, which reads, "Kids' shoes and bones found in abandoned mine."
Nah, they're definitely kid shoes, because I wear kid shoes, and so I know what kid shoes look like. To be fair, I think that these are reasonable speculations. The bones are very clean, the shoes may have been placed there. But to my point earlier, this Connor Kelly guy, this video that he posted has almost 500,000 views. If he did fake it, surely he would have tried to do more of them. Why would he only post that one video and then go post Dan's videos after? I don't know, that part makes it feel legit to me.
Now, while that makes an already creepy situation even more disturbing, it's simply not true. There are plenty of adult-sized shoes visible in this pile. Unfortunately, I doubt we'll ever know what happened here for sure. It's been 6 years since the video was uploaded, and as I mentioned earlier, Connor has vanished completely from the internet ever since.
Yeah, it's very strange. What do you guys think? Is that real? Is it not real? Is the serial killer's dungeon? Maybe he just shared the dungeon with the cougar cat.
Action Adventure Twins is a YouTube channel run by brothers James and Edward. The duo has been exploring dangerous and cramped caves since early 2020. Yet, despite their combined experience, one of them almost lost his life back in 2022.
Oh no.
In January of that year, the two decided to explore the popular Petty John's Cave in Georgia. They had already explored parts of this maze-like cave multiple times before, and had even found an underground waterfall during one of their expeditions.
On a good note, they are wearing protective gear. I saw the one dude have a helmet on, and I think elbow pads too. I actually just went into a cave not too long ago, like 2 weeks ago, and I don't do caves. I'm not a cave person, but this cave was supposed to be extremely safe, and we were filming a video, so I was like, ah, screw it, let's go. I know this is gonna sound really, really stupid, but rocks are very hard. Very, very hard, and you can't move them. Like, I know, it sounds stupid, and everyone knows that, but different experience when you're actually only completely and entirely surrounded and encapsulated by rocks. And it's such a strange feeling to have to crawl through these giant, massive boulders, knowing that, like, you can't move them, and they're insanely sharp. I know, look, I know it sounds stupid. You're probably like, what the? What did I do? It's a rock, you can obviously. I'm just saying, it's way different to, like, watch this, but also experience it at the same time. It's very, very scary. Yeah, it's weird, dude. It's weird.
Put simply, they were pretty confident in their ability to navigate through
That's
this
cool.
cave. But unlike their previous ventures, this time they were going to tackle one of the hardest sections, the aptly named Nervous Breakdown, referring to how cavers feel when going through it. Things started off just as expected, with the pair going through the narrow and claustrophobic entrance to reach the first open area of the Petty John's Cave.
That is one very funny thing about caves, or I guess cavers, is that they name the different parts of the cave. So, for example, a very common one is what cavers refer to as a corkscrew, where you have to twist your body in like a spinny way in order to get through a specific part of the cave. But then people have gotten more creative, and the devil is a very common one, but they'll use like the devil's toe as a section. I'm not kidding. This is the first time though that I've heard of like the nervous breakdown section of a cave. That just sounds like I don't want any part of that ever. No thank you. No thank you very much. Do not come again. But apparently that's where they're going.
Whoa, entrance room.
However, it didn't take long for the cave to begin closing back again, forcing the two to squeeze through tiny passageways. But that was only the beginning. After about
bro, look how
25
tight
minutes
that
of
is.
crawling through increasingly tighter spaces, they reached the first big obstacle, a muddy room with a narrow and steep hole in the middle. They had to carefully walk around this hole to progress. A single slip and falling into the narrow hole and possibly getting injured. And given the lack of safe footing around the hole, it would have been near impossible for the other person to pull them out. After
Dude, yeah, if you fall in that, you're cooked. You're stuck there. I don't know, like what?
successfully navigating around this obstacle, they finally arrived at the entrance to Nervous Breakdown. Unfortunately for them, things weren't looking good.
Did they have a nervous breakdown? Probably.
The area surrounding this entrance had collapsed some time ago, making it very difficult to figure out the path ahead. After looking around for a bit, Edward eventually found the real entrance and was excited to go in. He genuinely couldn't wait to find out what was down there and began his descent, leaving his brother behind in case something bad happened. What he didn't realize was that this was about to be one of the worst decisions he'd ever make. Because after descending for a few minutes, Edward called for his brother only to be met with complete silence.
No.
I found a rope.
Nah. I don't like that at all. I really don't like that at all. Of all of like the ghost and scary videos that we've watched, this might be the worst for me. That just gave me the chills. I don't like that. I really don't like that. Why would they split up though? Why are they splitting up? How is that not like rule number one when you're exploring a cave is don't split up? Who knows what could have happened to his brother? His brother could have fallen. His brother could have gotten lost. His brother could be cooked right now. Oh no. Oh no.
I don't hear James anymore. Uh-oh.
And he just continues?
In other words,
What?
Edward was now lost in an unknown section of the cave without any means of contacting his brother. At first, he tried to stay calm and continued his descent, hoping to find James before long. However, after staying separated for over 30 minutes, the realization set in. He knew panic was the fastest way to make a bad situation worse, but at this point he couldn't help but feel a growing sense of unease.
Wait, why would he keep going if he doesn't know where his brother is. They're split for 30 minutes? 30 minutes? Are you kidding me? I would be freaking out. Nah. Why does he keep going though? And did you see how tight that hole was to fit through? Nah, bro. No way.
James! James!
Sound does not travel well in caves. I know, like, you probably think that sound travels well in caves because that's what I thought, but that's only if the cave is, like, very open, and then there'll be an echo. But in these tight spaces like this, all the rocks, like, the frequency and vibrancy of your sound waves doesn't penetrate rocks. It'll all just bounce right back. So, honestly, James could be, like, 30 feet away, but if he's, like, around the corner of a cave, then it's very hard to hear you.
30 minutes since I last saw him. I don't even know where I'm at. I tried to go back to the last place I saw him.
And now he's lost.
And everything just looks the same. It's just a jumble maze.
Oh no, bro.
We should have never split up.
After calling out to James many times with no luck, he decided to retrace his steps and find the way back. Unfortunately, he had underestimated the difficulty of the maze he was about to enter. Every direction looked the same. The narrow passages and jagged walls made it impossible to tell where he had come from. To top it all off, his situation was getting worse with each step he took. If he went the wrong way, he could easily wedge himself into a passage too tight to escape, or worse, plunge into a hidden drop-off. This is the true horror of caving. Even if he didn't injure himself, he could have just as easily wandered around aimlessly until his body gave way into exhaustion, leaving him lifeless in a cold, rocky crevice.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, the lights as well only have a certain amount of battery life. If you're down there for multiple hours and you get lost, once you lose the light, it is pitch black. And I mean pitch black. You're cooked. You're completely cooked. Even when the sun comes up, you're way too deep for it to get to you. That might be the most terrifying thing ever, actually, is being stuck in a cave without a light, because there's no way you're getting out. Wow. I'm just thinking of that now. I'm good. I'm good. I could do without having to experience that in my life.
Footage of him excitedly dropping into the nervous breakdown entrance would have ended with the camera recording his descent into confusion, fear, and eventually silence. Fortunately, that wasn't the end of his story. After going in loops for a while, Edward spotted a single piece of tape he saw on his way down.
Oh. The tape. Yeah. Okay, this tape looks familiar. Oh, yeah.
Oh, look how tiny that is. Look, he can barely fit.
Close.
He's like scraping his way through.
Still nothing.
This unexpected clue turned out to be exactly what he needed. It helped him regain his bearings and finally head in the right direction. Finally, he heard the best sound he could have heard in that moment.
James!
Well, there we go.
You're over here? Oh. Dude.
How is James okay? Oh my god, how is James alright? It's been 30 minutes! What is James doing back there? You would think that he would be worried about this guy being lost or stuck. Why would he not go down and be like, hey buddy, are you okay? It's been 30 minutes! I think they might just be rage baiting me, and it is working.
This place is a maze, man. Oh, hey, I see your light. Dude. I thought we were never gonna see each other. Dude, I know. Oh.
What was he doing? Where is he coming from? James, explain yourself, bro. What?
Rest of the expedition and made it out alive without any major injuries. They're still exploring caves on YouTube, but now with a lot more caution.
Dang, they get some pretty good views. That's cool. I'm gonna have to go check them out. That looks cool.
In January of 2014, a group of cave explorers decided to conquer the Lost John's Cave in Lancashire, England. It's a vast cave network that spans a length of nearly 3 miles or 4.8 kilometers. The known deepest section of this cave also goes down a staggering 690 feet or 211 meters. Most members of this group had been spelunking for years, and like most other cave explorers, were quite confident in their skills. They had also done their research and mapped out their route in advance. But the truth about caving is when things go wrong, no amount of planning can save you. Even the most experienced and well-prepared explorers can find themselves in terrifying situations, which is exactly what happened to one of the members of this group named Bob Johnson. The expedition was going quite smoothly in the beginning, with the group using the equipment they brought with them to continue safely. That is, until they reached a section of the cave called the Tube. It was an unusually narrow
what is that? Come on. No way anyone looks under there, looks back up and says, let's do it. Yeah, right. Nah, I don't know if I can watch this. I'm not claustrophobic. I'm not a claustrophobic person. I don't really care about tight spaces. That is terrifying though. No way. Nope, you couldn't pay me $1 million to go through that.
Section that required the cavers to crawl on their stomach. And to make matters worse, it was also partially submerged in water, making it difficult to both see and breathe. Despite these harsh conditions, the group decided to move ahead.
Look how tight that is!
The slimmest member of the group went first and successfully made it to the other side without much trouble. The next person, however, wasn't as fortunate.
I actually, no troll, don't think I could fit my head in there. Let alone like my shoulders, my torso, my legs, my booty cheeks. No way.
This was Bob Johnson, the man we mentioned earlier.
It's so tight.
His crawl through the tube wasn't off to a good start, as he was already having issues with the comparatively wider sections of the passage.
Nah, the water makes it so worse. So much worse.
He then somehow managed to reach—
He said help? No, seriously help? Someone in front of him goes, you're all right, bud, just keep it coming, all good here, all good, keep it coming. What do you mean you're okay? Bro, he's stuck in a cave where there's running water that could like easily drown him. Are you serious? What do you mean you're okay? Nah, I would freak out. I don't like this at all. Oh my God, dude, I'm like getting antsy just thinking about pressing this play button.
The tightest part of this treacherous section. But that's where his luck ran out.
What do you mean his luck ran out? Okay, he's almost through. Oh my God.
He was completely stuck from the waist down, and any attempt to free himself only made the situation worse.
Oh my God.
Now, being stuck in a narrow cave like this is extremely stressful on its own. The walls close in on you, and every movement feels like it's pushing you further into the tight space. Panic sets in as you realize just how little room you have to maneuver. And
the thing is, too, is he's clogging up the water stream. And so while he sits there, the water doesn't have anywhere to go. And so the water's just gonna keep on building up and up and up and up and up. He might only have like let's just say 5 minutes before that water is at a level where he won't be able to breathe anymore. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Nah. Nope. I really don't like this at all. I'd rather watch ghosts. Take me back to the ghost videos. Take me back to a better time. Oh my God. And you can see the panic on his face too. I feel so bad for this guy.
With each failed attempt to free yourself,
the
fear intensifies. But as if the confined space wasn't enough to make his heart race, Bob now had to contend with something far more terrifying: the rapidly flowing water. Water makes any caving venture 10 times worse. In a dry cave, even if you're stuck, you still have time to think and plan your escape. But when water starts to rise, the situation shifts from bad to life-threatening. The feeling of water creeping up around you in an already claustrophobic space is a nightmare on its own. The real danger with water, however, is that you have mere minutes before drowning becomes a very real possibility. Bob knew this possibility all too well. He gave his all to free himself. Unfortunately, the water was quickly filling up his suit, making it even more difficult to squeeze through. But when the situation seemed hopeless, one of the members had an idea that ended up saving Bob's life. Instead of pushing forward, the members behind him tried pulling him back, and it worked.
Thank the Lord, bro. That would have been like the worst way to go. Oh my God. Nah. You can tell bro was in still like a crazy panic. Pull me! Pull me! I'd be doing the same thing. I know I kind of laughed at him, but I would do the exact same thing. Oh my God.
Finally free, though his troubles weren't over. He later revealed in a comment that him and the 2 members who pulled him back had crawled for another 3 hours to get out of the cave from a different exit. This incident also left him traumatized to the point where he can't even watch this video without becoming anxious. From what I can find, he scaled back on caving and picked up a much safer hobby in cycling, and now appears to be doing just fine.
Good for him, bro. Good. I don't blame him at all. No chance I would go in another cave. No way. Oh my God. Mountain biking still is relatively dangerous though, but probably not as dangerous as caving at least. Oh man. I just can't imagine myself being in that situation, what I would do. I would freak out. Because a lot of times in caves, when you get yourself wedged in a position, you can't come back. Like there's no reverse button sometimes. Sometimes those people will start pulling your legs. You're stuck in your torso and it starts ripping your torso or it starts ripping your leg out, and you're just fully stuck. So he actually got really lucky there that he was still able to get back out of it relatively safely. Oh my God.
On the 7th of September 2024, the Action Adventure Twins YouTube channel posted a video exploring a mysterious cave someone found on their property. This is the same channel we talked about earlier, where the 2 brothers got separated and almost lost their lives in the maze-like cave. They've learned their lessons since and approached this one with far more caution. But with an entrance as life-threatening as this one, even the best precautions could have proven to not be enough.
Alright, so the guy dropped us off halfway up the hill, and he doesn't know anybody who's been down this thing, but we were at the cave. He says he threw a rope down it with a rock and it was 200 feet deep before it stopped. So we got this stick here. We're gonna see if our rope reaches. It's still, oh, you were right, it kept going.
That is a pit to Earth's core. Nah, there's no way they're going in there, right? Also, that 200-foot rope, it could have never stopped. Like, it could just be like the stone is dangling down there, right? Like, it still could be going. First of all, I would never go, like, caving in these serious caves ever. But also, to go in a cave that nobody else has explored yet? Nah, I'm good. I'm actually good. Thank you, though.
This alone is enough to terrify most people, with one person stating, "This channel has given me a new fear about walking in the woods. The fact that you could just slip and fall down a hole like that is insane. Now anytime I go anywhere, I wonder how many massive voids are right below my feet that I could fall into at any moment."
Minecraft kind of got it right, dude. In Minecraft, you start digging down, eventually you find a cave. That's probably how it is in real life, too.
But that didn't deter Edward and James. They quickly secured their rope to a nearby tree and began descending into the steep cave. What they found inside was nothing short of breathtaking. That tiny opening gave way to a vast chasm.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, that is pretty cool.
One, man.
However, before they could fully take in the beauty of the cavern, things took a dark turn. Just seconds into the cave, the 2 discovered what looked like human remains scattered throughout.
No.
That's comforting. Human bones, huh? Look how big they are. Dude, look behind you. There's like a little shrine of them. There's like, oh, that's a cranium. Dude, is that a human? Nah, I don't know.
I think it is, bro.
Round.
That definitely looks like a human skull.
Yeah, that looks human, man.
That doesn't necessarily.
Okay, who is the dude that dropped them off here? Who is this guy? I would start to have many doubts. Unless whoever dropped them off is like their friend, somebody they know well. Whoever dropped them off here definitely could be up to no good. It could be all part of their plan. Like, what if that guy hung around and then cut off their rope to dangle themselves down there? Immediately, I see that. That's the first thing that pops in my head is like, we're in a trap right now. We are a mouse in a maze and there is no out. I would book it immediately. Oh my God.
I don't know. I'm not a bone expert.
From there, they continued exploring the cave as it kept getting bigger the further they went into it.
Oh, there is a rope in there already.
They also discovered old caving equipment like ropes and harnesses already secured to the walls, a detail that only deepened the mystery surrounding the bones they had found earlier. If they did belong to a person, as the 2 suspected, it was possible they belonged to a previous explorer. This explorer likely had an accident and died in the cave without ever making it out. On their way in, they did find scattered bones right below the entrance. These were likely the remains of people who accidentally fell into the otherwise unassuming hole. However, the bones they found further inside were too far from the entrance to have belonged to someone who simply fell in. It's also possible that these remains belonged to the victim of a deranged killer. Someone who either had ended a person's life within the cave, or maybe threw the person into the hole and later dragged their body further into the cave.
Or like somebody who, you know, drives people out here and tells them to go in and then murders them while they're down there. Anyone else? Anybody else thinking that, or is that just me?
Some people, however, weren't convinced and
Lol,
accused the
so
brothers of
fake.
faking the whole thing, especially since the way Edward and James handled some of these remains felt a bit too casual. That said, while YouTubers faking these finds to get a viral video isn't uncommon, this one turned out to be true. The video received several comments from experts confirming that these remains were indeed real and human, with one such person writing, "My girlfriend and I are watching from Canada. We're both paramedics, definitely a human femur and a human cranium. But this raised an even bigger question. When did the owner of these bones pass away? If they disappeared into the cave in the last few decades, this discovery could end up cracking an unsolved case." I ended up contacting the action-adventure twins to see what they had to say or if they had made any police reports afterwards. We ended up contacting the authorities about the bones. They were determined to be human and were apparently a Native American that either slipped and fell into the pit cave or was thrown in there after death and are 2,000 years old.
Whoa, 2,000 years old? Whoa, that's really cool actually. Wow, 2,000-year-old bones. Oh my God, that's like when Jesus was alive. Could it be Jesus? No way, right? Yeah, no, that doesn't really make sense, does it? It was a Native American. That's so cool. Like maybe back then it was like their ritual to sacrifice somebody or punish somebody by just throwing them into the pit. I mean, certainly very messed up, but adds up to me.
While this did rule out the possibility that these bones belonged to someone more recent, the despair of
Ew,
whoever
there's a
ended-
spider right there. They didn't even say
possibility that these
anything.
bones belonged to
Look, there's a giant spider right here. Oh, God.
someone more recent,
Ugh.
the despair of whoever ended up in that cave alone 2,000 years ago is just as impossible to ignore. They likely fell into the cave, somehow survived the fall, and ended up starving to death while looking for a way out.
Yeah, that's just a terrible way to go.
On October 28, 2004, 50-year-old Australian airline pilot and scuba diver David John Shaw broke the world record for the deepest successful dive in history. He achieved this by reaching a depth of 270 meters in Bushman's Hole, one of the deepest freshwater caves in the world. The sole purpose of this dive was to break the record. However, when he reached the bottom, he found something that stopped him in his tracks. He found the body of Dion Dreyer, a 20-year-old scuba diver who died in that cave 10 years ago.
What?
Since humans start sinking after a certain depth, Dion's body never floated back to the surface. Given the extreme difficulty and danger of diving this deep, any plans to retrieve his body were also cancelled at the time of his death. However, a plaque in his name was installed near the diving point of Bushman's Hole, which is how Dave knew what he was looking at. After staring at the body in shock for
That's
a few
so
seconds,
sad.
Dave immediately got closer and tried to retrieve Dion. Unfortunately, after a decade in the water, his tanks were firmly stuck in the mud. More importantly, Dave had already spent too much time at that depth. Staying any longer would have been fatal. So he decided to tie a line to Dion's body and return to the surface with the newfound information.
Wasn't very steep, and when I saw the body over on to my left, I thought, oh, that's the end of going deep. So just tied my line to it, and by then I was, well, we won't discuss that. So I just left my line.
The news of
Bro, that is so sad. Scuba diving at those depths too is really, really scary because eventually you get to a level that there's so much pressure that your body just like starts to tremble and shake. And eventually you start just like seeing spots and apparently you start to feel like you're very, very, very drunk. And then you just like, boop, you lose consciousness. You're gone. You're like in and out, and then boom, gone. Very, very scary, especially knowing that you're hundreds and hundreds of feet underwater. You look up and it's just black. It's really, really creepy. I've never gone that deep, but I have been scuba diving before. And even when you're just underwater, like 20 feet, it's kind of scary. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really cool, but it's pretty scary. And so if you are that deep and you're starting to feel like these weird symptoms, nope, I'm good. And also experiencing all of that and then seeing a dead body while you're down there. Nah.
Dion's body being discovered spread quickly, eventually culminating in Dave talking to his parents and promising to retrieve it. After a couple months
He's
of
going back?
preparation, the next dive was
No.
scheduled for January 8th, 2005.
Wait, but I thought he tied a line to it. Can they not just hold the line up?
Unfortunately, Dave's heroic attempt to
No.
bring closure to Dion's parents ended in a catastrophe
No.
far worse than anyone could have imagined. Cave diving, aka underwater cave exploration, is far more dangerous than regular spelunking. The divers have to manage their oxygen levels at all times, avoid
No.
often sharp rock formations, and explore the cave system in a far darker environment because even the brightest flashlights aren't as effective underwater, all while making sure they don't get lost. Add in the immense pressure of 270 meters of water above, it becomes an almost insurmountable challenge, one that only a handful of people on the planet are capable of overcoming.
No.
So everything needed to be perfect for Dave's operation to succeed. He worked with police divers, the defense force, and medics to ensure everything went smoothly, and they planned the dive second by second. According to the plan, Dave would use the line he tied earlier to reach Dion's body. After cutting it loose and putting it in a special body bag, he would begin his descent. This descent would have taken around 12 hours to avoid decompression sickness.
12
so
hours?
Instead of holding on to Dion's body the entire time, Dave would pass it along to his longtime friend Don Shirley at 220 meters. Don would then hand it over to support divers located at various depths and keep checking on Dave for any issues. Sadly, this is not how it went. An hour and a half after the dive began, the surface crew received an ominous message from the support divers, claiming that they hadn't seen any activity from Dave or Don. Shortly after, another message reached the surface. This one was from Don, stating that he's seeing Dave in the distance, and he's not moving.
Don said I did.
Don's okay.
Dave's not coming.
Don's okay.
While this message was making its way to the surface,
I got
Don
the
tried to
chills.
reach Dave himself. He exceeded his target depth, which resulted in his rebreather controller imploding. This also
What?
led to him suffering from oxygen poisoning and vomiting while 220 meters under the water. Fortunately, he managed to keep hold of the line and was eventually pulled out of the water still breathing. Dave, however, didn't make it. But when rescue teams pulled out his body, they made a shocking discovery. Dion's body was attached to the recovery line as well. Following the recovery, investigators looked at the footage captured by the waterproof camera mounted on Dave's head. This is what they saw.
I don't know if I
should
want to see
mention,
this.
I couldn't find the raw footage from that camera. The only clip of it online is narrated by Don himself, Dave's best friend who we just talked about who almost died trying to save his life. The footage shows Dave moving alongside the line to find Dion's body, and then trying to put it in the bag. Unfortunately, this is where the plan started falling apart. Dion's body was unexpectedly loose from the mud and was moving around uncontrollably. Dave tried to complete his mission despite this, only to end up getting tangled in the line.
This line is just getting everywhere because this body is floating. It's not stuck. Everything's moving. Right, light gets caught on the line there. Move it out of the way. Still got a nice bright light.
All this effort caused him to neglect his gauges, resulting in Dave feeling the effects of nitrogen narcosis, which include poor judgment, trouble concentrating, and reduced muscle and nerve function. Put simply, he lost everything he needed to survive at that depth.
So as he was trying to bring this corpse back up to the surface, I don't even want to think about it. That's actually so sad. Like he's trying to rescue this corpse for the family while he's down there hundreds and hundreds of feet. He starts to get tangled up by the rope that is attached to the corpse. And that's what messes with him.
Tried to cut the tangled line, but the lack of coordination made it near impossible. As he was struggling to stay conscious, the last thing he saw was the terrifying view of Dion's lifeless face mask staring back at him.
Oh my
Shortly
God.
after this, Dave passed away. The only silver lining was that the tangled line kept Dion's body close to Dave, allowing him to successfully complete his mission by recovering the body, only at the cost of his own life.
Nah, bro. No. I don't know if I could watch another one of those. That is so sad. That is actually so sad. Oh my God. Caving is scary enough. Caving underwater, 10 times scarier. I think I'm gonna go back to watching ghost encounter videos. Ironically enough, I think that's way less scary than these. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy that, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and click right here for another video.